What up and welcome. I am Matthew Msengati, the designer and developer. This is my YouTube channel, Coded Design, where I teach coding and user interface design. In this video, I'm going to explain in details my new PHP framework, which is Fillantro, how it works. So first of all, Fillantro is a bit different from all other frameworks simply because it works as a single page app. What do I mean by that? This is what I mean. In whatever that is going on here in your user interface, it doesn't affect this address bar. Most framework, whenever you are going to a new page, for instance like login, there will be / login here. So Fillantro always work without a page refresh. Obviously, when I was introduced into PHP and programming and user interface, I was using WhatsApp Web, which is the web version of WhatsApp. And to me, it was very interesting that a website can behave just like an application. It means that it can perform tasks without even showing here if maybe it's moving to a different page. Hence, I decided to create this framework to take that approach. It's more like it favors single page apps. So if you want to get this application, please check the link in the description. It's a link to my Google Drive, so you can install it. If it's your first time here, please check video number 1 on how you can set up Fillantro. So without further ado, let's log in. So the login details, it's SMS 1234. Okay, so the framework is Fillantro, but the application that is running or that is built on top of the framework, it's SMS. It stands for School Management System. So this is the welcome page of Fillantro. So maybe you are wondering what's special about the framework, or how does it work, or maybe you don't even really get the idea of a framework. So now let's get into code so that I can explain in detail. This is Visual Studio Code. So obviously we have saved the folder SMS as an app in our root folder or in htdocs folder. So let's open that. Okay, if you are still new to this channel, I'm Matthew Msengati. I'm all about coding and user interface design. You can just visit my channel and click one of these playlists. Okay, in this video I'm only going to talk about the directories. So this is Fillantro folder structure, Fillantro as a framework, and this is SMS as a school management system built on top of Fillantro. So let me explain the folder structure. We've got the first folder, which is app CSS. Inside this folder there is CSS for the entire application. For instance, this app CSS is the CSS for Fillantro. Fillantro comes with its own CSS, just like I can say, just like Bootstrap, whereby if you are using Bootstrap, there will be some sort of default CSS that comes with it. So Fillantro as a framework comes with its own CSS style and colors. However, you want to be in control of your application, you can put your own CSS here. So this is where you will put your own application CSS. Remember, this CSS, it's more of a global CSS. It's not a UI specific CSS. I will show you when I'm on the UI component what is a UI specific CSS. Folder number 2 is the app.js, the application JavaScript. Fillantro, it's not only an PHP framework, but it also comes with a JavaScript code to help you with the front end side of things. For instance, when we come here, we can, let me just say, when we click the login button, you will see an error that is being thrown. As you can see that Fillantro is telling us that input is required from the empty field. So there is a Fillantro UI. It's some sort of a JavaScript mini framework as part of as part of Fillantro in that package. It's responsible for validating if this is empty. For instance, let me just give you an idea of how that happens. In any page or in any user interface in Fillantro, whenever these fields are empty and you require them, there is a function in Fillantro.js, which is the part of Fillantro, where you will just pass all your input, and then that function will receive your input and it will validate, it will loop through all of them, and then if it has found an empty input, then it will make sure that the color is red here, and then it will tell you that please fill in the input. So what handles that? It's this file, app.js. So Fillantro is divided into 3 components but at one. The first component, I call it Fillantro DB. It handles all the connection to the database. If you want to query something to the database, you don't write an SQL statement. You just use functions that are in Fillantro DB. And then there is also Fillantro UI, which is the one that has got something to do with the default style sheet and also all the validation and the JavaScript functions that are built in for you. And then we've got assets. This is where you will put your assets here. This is where you will put all your assets in this folder, your logos and everything. And then we've got a very important folder, which is classes. All of our classes are here. As you can see, I'm not gonna go get into details in terms of the content inside the folder classes, but I'm just gonna read through them. So here, this is abstract classes. This is where I save all my abstract classes. So even when you want to create an abstract class, you can save it here. This is app class, which is, these are the classes that are responsible for some sort of controlling the entire application. And then we've got app models. So these are the models for the application. Remember, this is a PHP, this is an MVC framework. So it's there's model, views and controllers. MVC, it's all about the separation of concern. Everything that relates to a user interface must be found in views. Everything that relates to the business logic must be found in controllers. Everything that deals with the database, it must be found in models. So this is the model folder for the entire app. This is autoload, and this is dependency injection container. Fillantro has a class which is called a DI, and this is the main dependency injection container, where it manufactures all the dependencies that are going to be used in the entire application. So when you want to new something up, when you want to instantiate it, you always create a method here for instantiating that. For instance, this is a method that helps you to get a database. This is the type of it. It's an interface. I'll talk about that one later. So it returns a new PDO database connection. So this container, it's a dependency injection container. It manufactures all of our dependencies. Interfaces, I always put all my interfaces in a separate folder. So that's how Fillantro has been built. Model classes, these are all the models. And then router class, this class help us with the routing. And then variables, this class contains all the important variables. For instance, when you are continuing with setting up your Fillantro, let's say you've got a unique database, you are creating a new application. This is where you will change your database to your new database name. This is where you will change your user to your default user, and this is where you change your password. What if then now on top of Fillantro you want to build, let's say an Uber or whatever application that you want, or it's let's say it's a student management system, not a school management system, then you will come and change that name here. This is the name of the system under variables. And then there's a lot of things that you can do here. The system directories, what if maybe now the main root of the application is not SMS, let's say it's Uber, then you will write Uber here so that the system can use this Uber as a directory, as a root directory. So my folder structure has been arranged in such a way that you only change it once, you only change the root folder, you don't change these folders. So based on this root folder, everything will change, the code won't break. everything will work accordingly. It doesn't matter your server or where you've saved things. So this was just variable classes. And then we've got vendors. As you can see that we've got Fillantro as part of the vendors. This is the Fillantro DB. This is where it works with all the connection and everything that you might need. And this is FPDF. FPDF helps me, it will help you with creating PDF documents. So that comes as part of the Fillantro. Obviously FPDF is not my own code. You can go and search it on the internet. It's a free library that you can use. Okay, and then we've got view template, and then we've got this one obviously is the one that you use for setting up database. So this one is not really part of the Fillantro system. And then we've got module doc, which is obviously, as you are creating document, you will be interested in saving the PDFs and also retrieving them. So this is where you will save everything that is a document. And then this is the public folder where we get an index. So in Fillantro, the public folder, it's here. Sorry, the index is inside a public folder. And then we've got UI components. Fillantro doesn't treat HTML page as a view, but however, because HTML page depends on CSS and also it depends on JavaScript, so in a way Fillantro treats it as a component. So Fillantro has got UI components, and then inside UI component you might find a login. So this login is a component. This main layout is a component. This student layout is a component. As you can see, this login is the one that you can see here. Once you are logged in, then you can see the main layout component. This is the main layout component. This is the main layout component, and this one, sorry about this one, it's a student component. This one is a student component. So where are those components residing? This is where they are. So inside a component, as you might see, that there is also an MVC pattern applied. The component has got a controller, it has got a model, it has got a view, meaning that this controller, when it loads, it has got some information that it must have automatically. For instance, it must have the student name and the student number. Where is it going to get that information? Then the controller, this view, will be helped by a controller to organize all the information so that when it loads, this information is already populated. Where is the controller going to get the information? Obviously, it must ask the model for connecting to the database and then displaying that information. So a UI component consists of a controller, a model, and a view. So as we can see that inside a view is not just made of HTML, it's made of CSS. Sorry about that. A view is made of CSS, JavaScript, and also a little bit of PHP. These ones I will explain them later. And that is it for now. Obviously, I will end the video here unwillingly because there is some sort of a disturbance there is a noise in the background, but however, at least I was done explaining the folder structure for Fillantro. If you want to download Fillantro, please check the link in the description. Fillantro can help you organize things, and it's simple. And also, as a new beginner in object-oriented programming, you can just get into these folders and try to understand how it works. It can help you to understand the object-oriented programming. As you can see here, it's all about object-oriented programming. This is a dependency injection container and everything, all its OOP. Otherwise, for me, Matthew Msengati, thank you so much. Please subscribe and also check my other videos like PHP playlist and also my object-oriented conceptual object-oriented programming.